Please welcome the CEO and co-founder of Yasu's Unlimited, Purushothaman.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm not going to bore you with manufacturing topic before lunch, but I'll quickly take you through the story, what we have. And this is a use case which we have done for almost 3 manufacturing customers who are pretty large in auto ancillary business in India, and India becoming a manufacturing global hub for auto ancillary. And that is where this use case came through us, and ideally we were able to craft a very specific solution meeting the manufacturing costing requirement for auto ancillary business. And I pet name it as manufacturing costing OS to a large extent, because that's how I see this entire solution panning up with the requirements coming from manufacturing customers to add more modules on top of it. And this entire solution is completely built over and above the Zoho creator stack to a large extent. And we have added more tech components from the Zoho stack itself on the DX Suite to make it much more comprehensive for the pricing process for the manufacturing team. Now, quickly, I'll give you the context of this business. The Indian auto ancillary business is close to most of the customers whom we deal with are around $1 billion plus. And the specific use case, what we have done is for one of the large auto ancillary manufacturers, they are around close to zero point 0.5 to 0.8 billion US dollars on top line. And they have around close to 17 manufacturing plants globally. And fundamentally, what's happening is when you have such complexity with 5,000 to 6,000 SKUs, they want to play around with new product change and existing product new changes. It becomes very difficult for them to track the quotation process. So this entire solution, what we have built called QuoteIT, is primarily solving the speed to quote. It means right from the time a key account manager gets an inquiry into their system to the time they can actually submit a costing quote to the customer. And all of these quotations also has one intrinsic problem. The facelifts, the upgrades on automobiles, which are happening 10 years from now, are all getting quoted today. So fundamentally, with this complexity, what happens? The change is very heavy on the engineering side. And incidentally, we being a manufacturing company where we build machines, we're able to understand the complexity and use a Zoho stack to weave for it. So some of the key challenges what manufacturers have told us during the context of implementing this is primarily the entire material grades vary. You will also have multiple surface treatments happen around this process, which is one of the complex engineering challenge which people go through in terms of quoting for manufacturing. The second thing is the production variability is very high in an auto ancillary business, particularly if you take a car like, let's say, Maruti, the amount of facelift they release in a given year is very high for them to acquire the market. In that case, the variability becomes very heavy in the combination of forging, casting, sub-assembly components, and as well as any other assembled components they want to put in. And the third important aspect with Indian government tightening on the quality compliance and regulatory requirements, particularly in terms of the sustainability, in terms of the 16949 standard which they want to follow, the manufacturers are forced to fit in some sort of tech platforms, moving away from WhatsApp, emails, Teams, and other broken systems which they have, and they need to bring in unified system which talks to the ERP in place. And the final thing is it's a China plus one market today in manufacturing, and India is trying to compete in the market. One of the big challenge what we foresee is the forex fluctuations are very heavy in a manufacturing price code. And the second problem what you will see is the GST is getting tightened over the entire process across the entire value chain. The third problem what we foresee is the import fitment is becoming a big challenge for auto ancillary manufacturers. Whatever they tried to import earlier from China, earlier from Taiwan is getting constrained because they want to force local. So these scenarios are where customer is having a lot of challenge in terms of finding out methods and means to make this manufacturing code much simpler, or it has to be in one single place. So technically the key ask of the client is to figure out whether it can be app first. Typically in a manufacturing scenario, you will never see an app first model. App first model is what they want to look for. Can you bring in parallel sequential workflows in the entire process? And this is a very complex design in an engineering context, considering cross-functional teams are involved to manage the workflows at scale. And also it is data dense, because in manufacturing, it's technically a data dense subject. How are we going to manage this? That's another area which they look for, and it has to be precise. Considering that you have metal trade index, you have forex fluctuations, you have part changes happening through ECN, the codes and the pricing has to be extremely accurate. So these are the key challenges which we gone through as a part of the journey to build this and deploy it to customer. Now, if I look at from a perspective of how to master this process, right? Now, some of the things what we came up is primarily to use Zoho Creator as a stack where you can be able to build dynamic forms, workflows, triggers, notifications at scale. which will cover the entire manufacturing process right from the time you get an inquiry into the system. Now, some of the key challenges an automobile manufacturer or auto ancillary manufacturer face is called something called APQP, which is called Advanced Part Quality Planning. And they have something called PPAP, which are must to have today if you want to go for export market, production part approval process. And these are all typically data dense, engineering dense process, which cannot be replicated to a typical ERP systems. It is all email driven today, Excel driven today, or it's mostly Teams. Now, to automate these process, or I won't say automate, to digitize these process where a human assist is always involved, Creator seems to be a phenomenal fit. Because when we evaluated multiple tech stacks, we evaluated Power Apps, we evaluated, let's say, Creator as one option. We also thought of building this completely custom. We also tried to evaluate Adobe Forms Manager. When we did the evaluation across all of the stack, we found Creator to be a phenomenal fit with the combination of products we can inject in. Because it's one of the very few no-code, low-code platforms available at a very affordable cost, considering the margin pressure is in auto ancillary business. And second point is your development time cuts down really, really quick. Because let's say if you look at from the perspective of the turnaround, what we can give for a final code using this platform is almost close to 3 hours max. From the expectation what they had to 15 minutes where we are trying to target today. It means when the CAM logs into the system, in 15 minutes, you will be able to generate a code, considering all the complexities you want to add on top of it. And that also meets the requirement of how an auto ancillary wants to operate in one single platform. Now, if I look at what is the solution stack in toto, one is technically the entire engineering fabric built around Zoho Creator. We call it QuoteIT. For me, I pet name it as manufacturing costing OS because it has got its own nuances we can build on top of it. And second important problem which we face with every engineering company which we deal with, they are looking for 100% on-prem SharePoint integration. Now, this is always a challenge considering you have engineering drawings coming in, engineering specifications coming in. You also have confidential data sheets coming from the customer. Let's say a BMW, one of the customer was dealing with a facelift or an engineering upgrade for BMW. It means for 2037 rollout, fundamentally what's happening is the entire data set is available with the customer and they can't take it out. So it means it has to be on-prem, and typically when we started the journey, other platforms had a challenge to integrate the way a creator can integrate within SharePoint. So it is too tightly integrated with RBAC, and that gave a better advantage for us to choose creator. And the third important aspect which came up, which is also important for Zoho to be proud of, is to manage the automobile new product development. Let's say if you look at a rear view mirror, if you want to build for a 2037 rollout, fundamentally it takes almost close to 5-6 years for them to even come with the product design and completing the beta. Now, what we did is Creator was able to talk in single touch with Zoho projects, and all the entire new product development, what they want to do at the time of a CAM inquiry coming in, is seamlessly integrated to new product development through Zoho projects on a template mode. It means if it is going to be an automobile ancillary on a mirror, there is already a standard template gets triggered, and basis is the project managers across the auto ancillary company were able to track the projects in real time. And we were able to use Zoho Catalyst, Zoho Flow to reverse trigger back to Creator for them to close the entire workflow. That something is phenomenal. I really love this. We just implemented for one more non-automobile company and it worked like grease. You don't need to worry about anything. It just made life easy for us. Now, the final two components, which is also an important DX Suite capability, which is there today, is Zoho Flows. When you want to integrate with SAP, because these are all densely integrated to SAP, because you need to pull in master data for your item master, price master, then the combination item which you want to sell. And apart from this, you also need to plan for the entire Forex item, which comes from SAP Treasury. Zoho Flow is able to talk in real time with SAP to pull these data for you to do the costing process. Then finally, the entire Zoho Catalyst, we maxed it out in terms of the way it can operate, particularly for ERP staging, because ERP staging cannot happen in real time. In this case, it has to happen through T plus 120, T plus 180, T plus 60 days of approval. And ideally there, Zoho Catalyst played a very important role using the Zoho Catalyst data store. We are able to store the information and trigger it at the time when you want to go to ERP. And also it becomes a incidentally by accident, because we are storing huge amount of data on the costing automation process. The data store in Zoho Catalyst has become a full-blown data warehouse for the manufacturer, which was not there earlier for him. Particularly, the entire costing process was completely manual, broken. Because we are able to centrally store the information, it becomes phenomenally good for him. So that is an additional advantage you're able to bring through Catalyst. Now, fundamentally, one of the key business impact, if I look at, we are able to push the win rates by 65%. So that's something we never expected in a process like this. We thought it will be an enabler tool, but fundamentally, it also helped them to bring a win rate ratio a little better compared to what it was earlier. Now, what are the key components which you put into the Zoho Creator stack is primarily the engineering flexibility, because you need to build in fit form function inside a platform for you to do the manufacturing costing, without which it won't work. So Creator gave that flexibility. Second important point is because Zoho IoT is also available as a part of the stack, in cases where we need to talk to the plant to bring in the operational factory floor data in terms of OEE, in terms of their factory performance, in terms of their quality performance, CPCPK data, Zoho IoT was an additional added advantage which customers were liking it, because earlier it was not the case. Factory was always a physical world, not connected. Now, ideally with Zoho IoT coming in play, we are able to integrate it at real time to the factory floor. And with Creator and Zoho IoT combination on the BPM and the factory floor digitization, it's like a beast in itself. Now, apart from this, the critical part for auto ancillary business is primarily on the entire quality assurance. This is really becoming tight now. And also we can add the SDG compliance coming in play for export business. This we were able to do at breeze with Zoho Creator. Anything related to SPC, statistical process control, integrated back to the Creator platform for costing management, the entire PPAP, APQP, it was really good. Creator was able to meet that requirement at scale. Then finally, the cost advantage. One thing I would say, the price at which a Salesforce platform looks like, the price at which Power Apps look like, the price at which any other BPM platforms in the market look like, Creator is like the right fit for a manufacturing business who are margin intensive, who has concerns over cost. And you are able to meet the complexity and flexibility, Creator meets that fit correctly. Now, other important aspects I covered in the earlier topic is primarily on the document management. I think because we are able to connect to SharePoint, because most of the manufacturing companies are Windows shop and you can't stay away from it, and that's going to be there forever. Now, in that case, Zoho Creator is a right fit which can talk to SharePoint in real time, because as soon as a CAM creates an enquiry in the system, let's say for a customer, he creates an enquiry, it immediately dynamically it creates a folder through Zoho Flow in the way they want to have the org structure. Because this is what they are living with, we can't change the process. Because it is able to do that in real time, ideally the acceptance with the CIO community of a creator integrating to SharePoint, it becomes higher and higher in a manufacturing business. Now, second thing is, because it is on-prem SharePoint, ideally what happens is security controls are still lying with the customer in terms of data privacy, the integrity check, and the dedupe on the documents, because this is something which they really like to look at. Every CIO wants to have his data secure and content secure. And the third important point is, because it is able to maintain absolute nth level audit trail, it automatically complies for external audit. All the three solutions we implemented actually went through 3 external audits with the customer cycle. And ideally, it has passed through with flying colors. So this makes it a right fit, a combination of a Zoho stack, DX Suite, and a combination of integrating to a platform like SharePoint for storing the documents in a centralized repository makes a right fit. Now, I'll quickly go to the R&D piece, my favorite subject. Every auto ancillary guys are looking for upgrading their product, either to meet the SDG compliance or to meet the BS norms or ERO norms. And fundamentally, that's where Zoho projects plays a very important role for them to manage projects at scale. Today, for the case what we are talking in, there are around close to 400 users. The new product development team and the R&D team are on the platform using it in real time at scale. It means every CAM enquiry comes in, it gets converted into a Zoho projects template. And the other complexity with Zoho projects did really well is the parent and child combination. Because let's say, for example, if you take BMW 7 Series, and ideally there is a windshield, there is a rear view mirror, there is a seat. Now, these three are a parent and child combination for the enquiry which comes in. Because customer tells you for BMW 7 Series, give me a code for windshield, give me a code for rear view mirror, give me a code for seat. Now, all of these are parent and child combination. This can only be achieved with a platform like Zoho Projects. No other platform will give you this flexibility. In a Microsoft project scenario, it is all 3 different projects. You cannot real-time sync it. Now, with Creator projects combination, we were able to max it out, because this combination is very difficult. And also, we were able to trigger interdependent workflows through the dilute scripts within Zoho Projects. And this is actually an added advantage for auto ancillary business. Now, finally, on the automation and scalability, there's always a problem of a CIO's challenges when he faces on a day-to-day basis. 2 components played a very phenomenal value add to us is Zoho Flow, where it can talk to any platform, third-party platform at market. And some of the simple things which you could do to a complex thing like talking to an ERP, like if you want to simply drop an alert to a CFO to say approve this process, we use Zoho Flow. We didn't use the inline notification. We use Zoho Flow to do this trigger. Now, if you want to talk to ERP to fetch the data or you want to post the data, through Catalyst, we use Zoho Flow because that actually made life much more easier, non-intrusive, and the security team of the customer was much more happier with this model. And the second component, Catalyst, we are able to add pricing forecasting, which is not expected out of the deal, but fundamentally we added a small component of pricing forecasting, which added value to the costing and engineering team because this data they add in Excel. We're able to push it in Zoho Data Store and technically use it in the front end for them to view it in real time. Now, the second component what we have on this Catalyst piece is particularly doing the rate acceleration using microservices. This was something never expected. We were able to do it at real scale. And the final one was making a data warehouse completely end-to-end for this code performance. Now, finally, why I think any manufacturing company should adopt this or any partner who is trying to look at a manufacturing stack automation should look at is primarily the set of stack on the Zoho side. You can use Creator, you can use Flow, you can use Catalyst, you can add projects, one of the phenomenal product. You can also add Zoho IoT on top of it. And finally, use integrated SharePoint for them to have a better control over their documents, the rollback access, and the other security controls they want to put in. Now, finally, what I would say is the key benefits what we could achieve is primarily a 65% faster code generation. We are able to demonstrate objectively to the customer because they were able to see, they were able at 20 to 30%, they were able to real time get back to customer, but they are able to do it faster today because it's single stop shop for them. And second important thing is the compliance is critical. We are able to meet the compliance at real time because everything is available on-prem for them, the way they want to manage their business. Only the app layer is available for them to manage the workflows. And third important thing is primarily to make the new product development. Any new product which they come in as an inquiry on existing product, new change, they were able to track real time, which was also lying in Excel and Microsoft project. And we were able to completely transition the customer end to end on top of this. So what I foresee as a final story is that if we are able to combine the power of Zoho stack for the manufacturing, which is also a target area for growth, these are the combinations we can play. And with IoT coming in play, it will be like a real boost in terms of making the solution work. Yeah. So we don't have any Q&A now, but I'm available around. If there are any questions on this subject, ideally I'm happy to answer this and help you get clarity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Purushothaman, for that insightful session.